Hey, it's back-to-back wins for the Golden State Warriors. First time they've done that. It's hard to believe since November 22nd. And it's starting to feel like the fall again in just terms of the way the Warriors are playing. Knocking down three-pointers, doing it off assists, 32 assists, 23 made threes. Let's talk about another Golden State Warriors win, this time over the Memphis Grizzlies.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
There's not many defenses in the world that can stop him.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's good, everyone. Happy Saturday. Welcome into Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. A lot of ways you can check out this show. Always free and available on YouTube, never sitting behind a paywall. If you're checking us out on YouTube right now, check that link out on the bottom. It's lockedondaily.com. That is where you can find our free daily newsletter. And for those of you listening on the audio podcasts, whenever you pull over, whenever you get a second, or if you're not driving, lockedondaily.com is where a free Golden State Warriors daily newsletter will be sent to your inbox for free. Shots are falling again for the Golden State Warriors. We're talking about that and Andrew Wiggins' incredible second half as he leads the way for Golden State with 24. Dennis Schroeder, we talked about whether he was a good fit for this team. Maybe it was just a lack of shooting, because as of right now, he looks like the perfect fit and is complimenting Trace Jackson-Davis very nicely. We'll talk about that connection. And then back-to-back games, that means no Steph Curry in this one. My name's Charlie Walter, formerly at 95.7 The Game in the Bay Area. That is the flagship station for your Golden State Warriors. I also covered the team in their championship run in Boston in 21-22 for CBS News Bay Area. You can be an interactive part of this show by hopping on the comments, and later on, I may even leave the link to this show in the chat so you can hop on. And it'll be like a call-in show. I'll be producing. I'll give you each 30 seconds to pop on, give a take. That'll be in the C block of this show. But let's start off with the meat and potatoes. And the meat and potatoes is it's back-to-back wins for the first time since November 22nd. You got to go all the way back to the win over Atlanta and then following up that dominant performance with a sluggish win over the New Orleans Pelicans since the Warriors have won 2 straight games. Yeah! How about it? Happy Saturday. A 20-second clutch game, most in the NBA for the Warriors. They don't always make it easy, but they had plenty down the stretch, and it's because it wasn't just one person carrying the way. It was everyone. And it's good to see a win over Memphis, because the last time these two teams had played, it was in Memphis. And that was the game that was over before the opening tip when Kevon Looney committed the foul and you said, oh no, what have we gotten ourselves into? And what we got ourselves into was the worst Golden State Warriors game of the millennium as a strat. But I mean, it had to be up there. Definitely of this era. It was the worst. They lost by about 3,000 points when they played in Memphis, and Curry had no field goals in that game. They'd once again get 0 from Steph Curry, which obviously makes sense considering he did not play in the game. Bilateral knee tendonitis. For now, it sounds like he will not go 2 straight in back-to-backs. Kerr's not going to commit to that for the rest of the season. But as of right now, that is the plan, to sit Steph in one of those back-to-backs. And they sit him tonight against Memphis with no Ja Morant. And the Warriors get the W. Now, 5-2 without Steph Curry on the season. They never used to win games without Curry. I mean, they were 20, 30 games below 500. And I mean, if you want to look at one positive from a season that's, I mean, there have been a lot of positives, but if you want to look for a big positive for the future, apparently they can now win games without Steph Curry. That was not always the case. Shots are starting to fall. That was not always the case. That was not the situation that we were dealing with or the reality that was in our lives just 5 days ago. The players on this team would indicate to you that this is not a horrible shooting team. I mean, Buddy Hield, second best three-point shooter in the last 10 years, at least in terms of makes. Steph Curry, Moses Moody can knock down shots. Jonathan Kuminga is starting to come into his own, especially from the mid-range, but he hit 3 of his 3 attempts today. Lindy Waters was apparently a sharpshooter that's been all over the map at points this season. You forget that he's a really good shooter until he has an afternoon like today. Draymond's been knocking down shots this season. And then Dennis Schroeder, who we didn't really know what to expect from after the way that he had started in the blue and gold. But man, he was really good for Golden State today. And you figured they'd turn it around. That's a law of averages thing. But I did not feel like it would go this quickly from 0 to 100. It feels like the beginning of the season again. And the secret sauce is back, everyone. You know what that secret sauce is. It's not Ed's. It's not Ed's secret sauce. It's Steve's secret sauce. And it is 30-plus assists and 20-plus three-pointers. The Warriors win every single time. And today, 32 assists and 23 made threes. 23 of 43 from deep for the Golden State Warriors. That's 53% from beyond the arc. It's going to be tough to lose games when you're knocking down shots, especially when you're defending. Memphis, one of the best, maybe the best scoring team in the NBA per the statistics. And today the Warriors hold them to, 113 points, but 9 of 27 from deep. And they turn Memphis over 22 times. That deserves a big old golf clap that would get you kicked out of the club. Get a little louder, folks. 22 turnovers for Memphis. Golden State turned it over 18 times. So let's get into the thick of this thing. Warriors have been ice cold, and they finally start to knock down some shots. They hit their first 4 3-pointers in the game. The first 18 Warriors points were on threes. Picked up right where they left off against Philly, where, again, they hit, it may have been 23 threes exactly. And they shot over 50%. I'd love to see the numbers side to side. They're probably the exact same there. But, man, Buddy's back to his ways. He was 3 of his last 26 from 3 entering the game. 3 of 26. He'd been awful from deep. He was 4 of 7 from deep in the game today. Moses Moody had the shot of the day, the double clutch 3-pointer. One of the more ridiculous things you'll ever see. Bottoms. Wiggins went wild in the third quarter. All's going well. It was the drive and kick action, breaking into the paint effortlessly. The show and go from Dennis Schroeder, who finished at the rim as well. Warriors went an entire month shooting 50% without shooting 50%. If they went an entire month shooting 50%, they'd be the best team in the NBA. But they went the entire month of December not shooting 50% in a single game. 23 of 43 on their 3-pointers today. And the Warriors from the floor, 52% overall. Only get to the line 16 times, but they knocked down 10 of them. Good for 62%. Post-game shows just getting started. Jonathan Kuminga was playing excellent. Had to leave the game with an ankle injury, but Lindy Waters stepped up on his behalf, as well as Kyle Anderson, who Steve Kerr's calling a professional. A professional. Why Steve calling him a professional? And also, Nikola Vucevic. Could he be the newest member of the Golden State Warriors? It sounds like Jimmy Butler is it sounds like he's a no-go. Vucevic, meanwhile, it's picking up some internal steam. We'll debate whether that is a good name to be looking after. That's coming up here on Locked On Warriors.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
All right, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and the Warriors do cover the spread today. The spread on FanDuel was 3.5. Keep your points, Vegas, because the Warriors win it by 8. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, and right now, do we have a deal for you, everyone? It's the NFL playoffs. They're here. They are here. And right now, new customers can finish the season strong because there is a weekend to go. $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So get in on the action right now. FanDuel has so many different ways to pick up a W. You can bet which team's going to win. You can take them with the points or laying the points. Player props, Who's going to score how many? Over, under, grabbing this amount of rebounds. We're talking football, though. Will he make the 30-plus yard field goal? You can get next play action. If you're a complete degenerate, they got everything for you on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL. Back to the show.
I don't give a damn about no damn Drake night.
All right, so Golden State improves to 18-16 on the season, 10-8 at home as they take down the Memphis Grizzlies. Jonathan Kuminga, I thought, shined in this game. Had 13 points and was 3 of 3 from three-point range in 15 minutes. That was all in the first half before an ankle sprain, right ankle sprain, took him out of the game. Kuminga knew right away, and you hope it's no big issue. At most, he misses the game tomorrow and nothing more because Kuminga has been awesome. At this point, it's how many games in a row? And that's what you were looking for from Kuminga. It was like, all right, Jonathan, we get it. When Curry and Draymond are off the floor, you tend to step it up and be that top scorer, sometimes in losses. How are you going to do when they're on the floor? How are you going to do every given night? Can you consistently put this together? And the way that he's consistently put it together is just by attacking. He's starting to pick up that 7-8 foot turnaround where he has his back to the basket, just turns around and sinks it. He's got some nice game to him. He continues to take it to the hole more and get to the free throw line, but did not have the chance to finish this game, meaning the Warriors won it without JK. They won it without Pods. They won it without Gary Payton, and they won it without Steph Curry because it was a little bit of everyone in the game today, starting with Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder's stat line for Golden State, 6 of 15 from the floor, 3 of 6 from deep, 17 points for Schroeder. And look, he was shooting, I don't think this is hyperbole saying he was shooting about 19% for Golden State through his first 7 games. The team was, I believe it was a minus 103 with him on the floor through those first 7 games. Like it was not working. It appeared to be a bad fit. And then you see him knock down shots and you go, oh yeah, that's the name of the game. Anyone looks bad when their shot is not falling. Anyone looks bad if they can't hit a shot. Because Schroeder brings something to the team that is coveted. This guy is lightning quick. Lightning. And he gets energetic and gets teed up when he brings a little too much energy. You want to talk about one of the more ridiculous calls you'll ever see is the refs teeing up Dennis Schroeder after he takes it strong to the bucket, finishes. How do you get a technical on your back? Short of like a slur, which he did not do. He just said, what? Or get some. He gave it one of those and got teed up. I mean, Zebra's zero fun in this game, but that should be a new rule. You cannot get a technical on your ass. Come on now. But that play that he got teed up, Anderson passed up a wide open 3. Kyle was standing there, and you could hear the Chase Center crowd like, nah, don't do it. Don't do it, Kyle. He had hit one from the corner, but had missed a couple short. And instead of taking that 3, he takes a couple dribbles inside the lane. A normal human being would have pulled up for like a 12-footer. Kyle is not, normal human being, yes. Normal basketball player, no. So instead he kicks it out to Schroeder, and Schroeder takes it in, attacks, and gets that and one. You got to love the team not settling. But again, it's just crazy how bad your shot can look if it does not fall. Because I looked at the Dennis addition like an afterthought. Quite frankly, through 4 or 5 games, I kind of forgot he was on the team. I'm like, oh, yeah, this team has Schroeder. What's he done? Oh, 9 points on 19% from the floor? Yeeks. But you look at his career numbers and you know something's going to change. He's consistently 45%, 35% plus from 3. You know that he has more to his game than what he's shown. And that's now back-to-back games where he has been very good. That's now back-to-back Memphis Warriors games where Draymond and Zach Edey have gotten into it. We're starting to see the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Draymond Green and big 7'4" Zach Edey. The Michigan State Spartan and the Purdue Boilermaker. How about that? Another thing I wanted to mention with Dennis Schroeder is that show and go he has is so nice. He can blow by the defense And when he's done that, he's found Trace Jackson Davis. He's done it a lot. So I know Trace is happy to have Dennis because Dennis can break down a defense, and some of the guards on this team can't. Podziemski hasn't really been able to break down a defense like we thought he could. Buddy, not really his game, right? He's just looking to create a shot off the step back or coming off screens of the split action, not necessarily off the off making a play. And then some of the other guards, Lindy Waters, not necessarily his game, or he's going to blow by someone. So it is nice to have a player like Dennis Schroeder that can do that. Pat Spencer played some big minutes today as well, and wanted to shout out his brother from UConn, the other Spencer, Cam Spencer, who had 7 points in the game today. Pat played some decent minutes, 12 minutes for the Warriors, did hit a bucket, had 3 rebounds and a couple of assists, a steal, and a block. He played hard, though, and at one point, Pat and Cam were guarding each other. Great moment for the two brothers. That's all we're going to talk about Pat Spencer in the game today. But hey, without Podziemski, without Curry, you needed a ball handler when Schroeder went to the bench, and I mean, he held his own. They won the game with him getting good minutes. All right, we saved the best for last. Lindy Waters and Andrew Wiggins. These two were phenomenal for Golden State today. Let's start with Andrew Wiggins because he was awesome. Really slow first half, only had 2 points, but came alive in the third with 18 points on 6 of 7 shooting in 10 minutes. Also knocked down 3 threes in the game. Had a dunk late in the game that just about iced it. Andrew Wiggins, our Locked On Warriors player of the game. That's what you needed with Curry out and Kuminga out. You needed Wiggins to be the alpha, and Wiggins has shown time and time again that he is back to his 21-22 form. 17-point two-way Wiggs is back. He goes 9 of 17 from the floor, 3 of 10 from deep. Not a force on the glass today with just 2 boards, but did have 4 steals in the game. The Warriors, as a team, turned over Memphis 22 times. They stole it 13 times in the game. And if Andrew Wiggins is our player of the game, Lindy Waters is our unsung hero, is not the right word. How about our unexpected hero of the game? 6 of 7 from the floor, 4 or 5 from deep, 3 rebounds, a couple of assists, 16 points for Lindy Waters in the game. And it's been weird with the rotations all season, guys. It's just been, you don't really know what to expect. And it's probably going to get weirder when Podziemski and Payton are added to the mix because you know what Steve Kerr's doing. Those two are sliding right back into the rotation. Literally 48 hours after Steve Kerr said he wants his rotation to be 9, and it felt like we knew what that rotation was going to be, all of a sudden Curry misses a game, Kuminga has to leave early, and we see a ton of Lindy Waters. We see 22 minutes from Kyle Anderson. Anderson, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and played some great defense in the game, a couple of blocks. And we also get some Pat Spencer action. Really the only player that's got significant minutes that was in a uniform today that did not play was Kevon Looney. And I do not know if this is signaling that Looney would be that player attached if the Warriors were to go out and get a Vucevic, someone that would require an expiring contract. But if it did require one expiring contract, I mean, Kevon Looney's won 3 championships. He has been awesome for this franchise. But as of right now, he's been getting DNP, coaches' decisions, seemingly every night. And Kyle Anderson, who has been getting those DNPs too. He gets the 22 minutes of run. Steve Kerr specifically called out both those guys, called them out in a good way, shouted them out, I should say, and said that Kyle Anderson and Kevon Looney are the consummate professionals, not complaining, not changing their body language, still being leaders despite not getting minutes. And Looney's had a good season. Like there were some stretches in Boston there. He was huge down the stretch in the Warriors' biggest win of the season. So for him not to be getting minutes and to be upbeat and in spirits, that's why you love Kevon Looney. Kyle Anderson was playing in, significant minutes in the Western Conference Finals last season, and he's getting DNPs right now for an 18-16 team. Hey, when your number's called, step up. And Anderson stepped up along with Lindy Waters in the game today. It was sharing is caring. 6 Warriors score in double figures. It's Jackson Davis with 11. It's Wiggins with 24. Schroeder with 17. Buddy Hield with 14. 13 for Kuminga. And 16 for Lindy Waters. We're going to get to the upcoming schedule. I'm also throwing this link on the chat here. Give me 1 second. Bang. We're getting the worst soap back from the letter A in the chat. So that is in there. I hope it works. If somehow you can click on it and join the studio, I'm the producer, so I have the ability to add you in. I'll give you 20, 30 seconds to ask me a question, to give a little take, just to get some FaceTime in front of 15,000 Golden State Warriors fans, and we'll send you on your way, and we will pack up this show on a good note. But let's talk some Vucevic coming up, because apparently there's some serious smoke. Jimmy Butler wants out of Miami. Golden State wants nothing to do with him. That's apparent. Vucevic, on the other hand, who's averaging 20 and 10, mind you, and is a big 7-foot, 6'10" body, I should say, that can stretch the floor. He apparently is what the Golden State Warriors are looking at right now. Let's talk about it. Coming up on Locked On Warriors.
I am a Golden State Warrior trying to win another championship.
Yes, he is. Golden State Warriors, Locked On Warriors, I should say, is brought to you by our friends over at Robinhood. Let's talk about Robinhood. Robinhood Gold, I should specify. With Robinhood Gold, you do not need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. What Robinhood Gold does is a lot of good things. First of all, it gives you the rates and perks that are usually reserved for the high society. The resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing does involve risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Back to the show.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
All right, let's take a look around the league, first of all, and show you what has gone on in some of these games today. The NBA scoreboard brought to you by Robinhood. Sixers get the win over the Nets, 123-94. Embiid back to his ways, 28 points, 12 rebounds. So they snapped the 2-game skid. Pistons 119, Timberwolves 105. Pacers take down the Suns on Saturday, 126-108. The Heat beat the Jazz beat the Heat 136-100, as Jimmy Butler has said he doesn't think he can find joy playing in Miami again. So do not expect him to play in Miami for the foreseeable future. Bulls beat the Knicks 139-126. Levine had 33. Towns had 44 and 16 in a losing effort. Blazers stun the Bucks 105-102. Nuggets go to overtime and defeat the Spurs. Jokic had 46, 9, and 10. Another MVP on its way. It's hard to argue. Nuggets 122, Spurs 111, and then your Golden State Warriors 121 and the Grizzlies 113 in the game today. All right. So the question now becomes Vucevic, because there's no interest in Jimmy Butler. That has been made well known. According to team and league sources, it's a no-go on Jimmy Butler. The name that's brought up is Vucevic. If another move happens, this is the likely one, as he is the name that's connected to the Golden State Warriors. And Vucevic is he's intriguing, to say the least. I thought Schroeder was intriguing, and we're now starting to see what he can bring to the table. I think that Vucevic is intriguing in a completely in the same way, but in a completely different way. That doesn't make any sense, but here's why it does. Schroeder brought the ability to blow by his man off the or blow by his defender off the dribble, the drive and kick, the drive and wrap around, and also to shoot the ball, something the Warriors have not done well lately. He can put the ball in the bucket, as evidenced by today. Vucevic can do the same thing. He can put the ball in the bucket. He also gives you size and the ability to stretch the floor as a big, which is huge for your lineup combinations. You can tinker things. He's scoring the ball at an elite clip this season. 20 points per game, 10 rebounds, shooting the basketball. Let's see his splits on the season, 44% from three, and that is on volume. Hits about 2 a game on 5 attempts, 44%. And free throw shooting, that's something the Warriors have lacked this season. When he gets to the line, he's usually very good, 83% from the floor. So Vucevic, as a Warriors fan, is this something that excites you? What it would cost? It would cost most likely, look, because they're trying to get him off the books. Let's look up the exact contract. I'll give it to you real time. Vucevic, because based off everything I know, he is not a rental. And the Warriors would have Vucevic for a minute. Now, signed a 3-year deal worth $60 million. So he's getting paid $20 million a year. And he signed that deal through, so he's an unrestricted free agent in 26-27. So you have him through next year. And he'll make 21.4 next season. When you crunch the numbers, I mean, Wiggins is going to be too much to get that done. So it's going to take expiring deals. It may take, like a Lindy Waters or maybe even a Kyle Anderson in there, a Looney and Anderson, something like that. It could take a Schroeder if they wait that long until a couple days before the deadline when Schroeder is eligible. But that's what it would take financially. The Bulls obviously want to get him off the books just because they're not contending right now. He's 34 years old. He's not a part of their future. I think he's 35, actually. He's not a part of their future. So it makes sense that they get that money off the books. But they'd want draft picks. How high? I mean, who knows? I thought that Schroeder was going to cost more than a couple seconds. So who knows with Vucevic? But he's averaging 20 and 10. So you can't argue that. The issue, he plays no defense. The good news is you've got defenders like Wiggins, you've got defenders like Draymond Green, that if you put those guys in there together and then maybe play Kuminga as well, along with Steph Curry, those are 5 big dudes. For all the Warriors fans that have been complaining, size. All it takes is one piece added to the mix that can stretch the floor, and your team looks a lot bigger, doesn't it? When you can play Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond on the floor together, because they started that lineup at the beginning of the year, but the paint got clogged. There wasn't enough spacing. Trace Jackson-Davis is a 0 in terms of putting up a shot outside of 4 feet. A 0. Vucevic is, you'd go 0 to 100 real quick because he chucks him up there and knocks him down. So, I mean, we'll see. Is he the missing piece to a championship contender? I still don't know if this team has what it takes to be a contender at any point this season. But if they shoot like this, they're going to win a lot of games. And they will be hovering right around that play-in playoff spot. Because the schedule gets a lot easier. That is something you have to keep in mind for the Warriors, as they went through the gauntlet portion of the schedule. And from here on out, you have crops of winnable games. I mean, coming up, you got Sacramento, Miami, Detroit. This is a good opportunity to potentially win 5 straight games, or at least, 6 of 7, because after Detroit, it's Indiana, it's Toronto, it's Minnesota, it's Washington. You have 8 more winnable games before you take on Boston at home, a team, mind you, that the Warriors already took down. Then it's at Sacramento. You get Chicago, you get the Lakers, you get Utah. You got a chance. And if you hang around into March, there's a chance that Vucevic could be that guy that's on this team. And who knows how they look if you add a stretch center. End of the season's going to be tough. They got the Clippers the last day of the year. And we know that the Clippers have not been a cakewalk for the Golden State Warriors. And they haven't been a cakewalk for anyone. Clippers have been good at basketball this season and could be getting Kawhi back. So I spoke too late. Kawhi knocks down his first bucket of the season. Kawhi Leonard is back. How many did he put up in the game against the Toronto Raptors? Kawhi Leonard today, it was actually against the Hawks. They're taking them on. This is live action. First bucket of the season for Kawhi. He's got 9 points in 16 minutes. There's a good chance that he gets hurt at some point the rest of the way. Let's get real based off the history. But at this point, they have Kawhi Leonard back. But you'll have San Antonio, you'll have Houston, you have Denver, at Memphis, at San Antonio, Milwaukee. So the last 15 games of the year, that's going to be tough. But there are stretches to where the Warriors can get 6-7 games above 500 realistically, put themselves right back up in the contending portion of this conference. And that is top 6 seed. Get yourself to the playoffs. You got number 30. So you're telling me there's a chance. Warriors right now in the standings, 8th in the Western Conference. They are a full game behind the LA Clippers. They're a game and a half behind the Dallas Mavericks for that 6th seed. And then, you're 2 full games. That's it. That's all that separates you from the 4 seed in the West. That would be the Denver Nuggets. 1, 2, 3, Thunder, Rockets, Grizzlies. You've now taken down the Grizzlies twice, the Rockets twice, and the Thunder once, and really should have been twice, considering they did not have Steph Curry in that game where they lost in the final minute to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So let's, again, forget the magnifying glass. Let's get the telescope out, and let's look through the telescope at the scope of this season. And it's that the Warriors have lost a lot of close games. It's that they shot the ball horribly. And there'll be a stretch again where they shoot bad. But I don't know if you can be this atomic hot and cold for the entire season. It's like 50% from 3 or it's 19% from 3. It doesn't make much sense. At some point, the law of averages says that this team will not be as bad as they were and probably won't be as good as they were in the game today. But either way, Warriors right back in the thick of things. Everyone was smiling. Curry on the bench had a big smile on his face. That is what you want to see from the Dubs. Mark Medina says it best. Top 6, that's our ceiling. We're right there for top 4, and they could be getting help. It doesn't have to stop with Vucevic. Dunleavy's made it clear. Kerr's made it clear that they're sitting, waiting, wishing, hoping that the right guy becomes available, and they're just evaluating their team as they go. They have another month to figure out if they want to make a move. And the easiest move to land a big-time player probably comes in a month, because that's when Schroeder's $12 million becomes available to trade. But hey, all of a sudden he looks like a nice piece to the nucleus, and maybe the Warriors don't need that second star to be good this season. Forget just all the contention talk. I know we're spoiled here in the Bay Area. I know Warriors fans have had just a ridiculous run of this thing over the last 15 years. Let's not forget, man, getting into the playoffs is a big achievement. It wasn't that long ago. Realistically, it was a long time ago at this point. It was, 16 years ago? But we believe that was just getting in and giving us a chance. This is the we're not done yet tour, hopefully. And you know how petty and you know how fired up Curry and Draymond would be if they could get it done this season. But let's just talk about stringing together some wins. First back-to-back winning streak since November 22nd. That's big time. Also, shout out Draymond Green, because I feel like I mentioned every single person on the team today. The scorebook does not say that he had some dynamite game for Golden State. I think the final numbers were 6 points. Let's give them to you live. Draymond Green, 9 points in the game. 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block. But I'll tell you what, early he set the tone, especially defensively. He was great on the ball. He was incredible with his team defense. And then even in transition, there was a play there where just slapped it out of dude's hands. Forget that. There was a play where he forced an 8-second violation. The stat sheet says that Draymond Green was whatever in the game today, but the +10 doesn't lie. And Buddy Hield leading the way, by the way, with a +18, 4 threes in the game. This after going 3 for 26 before that. It's just good vibes are back, folks. Good vibes are back. To everyone in the chat, good stuff. It's the Sacramento Kings on Sunday, second of a back-to-back. Expect to see Steph Curry in the game. No news yet on Jonathan Kuminga, whether he will play. That will be the big storyline heading in. That game is at, looks to be, 3:30 Pacific time against the Sacramento Kings at Chase Center. I've run a little long. My night is done. Good to see everyone. Keep the good times rolling. Good vibes only. Happy Saturday, everyone. And if you like the show, if you stuck around for this entire time, I appreciate a good review on the podcast app. Wherever you get your audio podcast, but specifically Apple, because that is where you can leave the 5-star and drop in a nice little note to hopefully bolster that rating that I inherited from the previous host. But good stuff, everyone. Warriors get the job done. Final score, Golden State 121, Grizzlies 113. It's a winning edition of Locked On Warriors. Peace.